Ayato's character demo was recently released, and it finally explained why the characters was there to aid the traveler. You know, gave us a bit of lore, gave us a rundown of his personality, and a decent showcase of his gameplay. So, I would want to give the best character demo award to Zhongli? Now don't misunderstand me, I'm not undermining how good Ayato's or all the other character demos are. I think they're all very good, like oh my god, look at those visuals, look at those ninjas. But there's just something about Zhongli's character demo that scratched an untouched corner in my brain. Every single time a character demo gets released, it seems like everyone has this unspoken contract with themselves to rewatch the Zhongli one. This has got to a point where it literally has 26 million views. Not to say that I have come to a conclusion solely based on the view count, because I'm pretty sure that it's been promoted and used as ads. Plus, I also recently figured out what tags they put on their videos, and I found it pretty funny. Anyway, our focus here is not about all those boring statistics and stuff. That's for nerds. Our focus here is on the demo itself. So what is it that makes Zhongli's character demo so damn good? There are many factors of what makes this so good, and I think I can narrow it down to 3 elements: the visuals, the music, and the purpose. I'm just gonna make a disclaimer here and say it before I proceed to embarrass myself with my takes. I am by no means an expert at any of these art forms, so don't think of my takes highly. This is just a cool analysis on why I think it was so good. Speaking of which, if you could, please do subscribe. Just hit the button, and don't worry, I won't post anything that isn't worth your time, and I won't mess up your subscription feed either. Subscribing means a whole lot to me, and it would only take like a couple of seconds for you to do so. I also have a Twitter, so you can check that out as well. With that out of the way, let's continue. These 3 elements of the video can also branch out into many different factors, like for the visuals, we have the transitions and animations. For the purpose, we have the character's lore and the showcase of gameplay. And for the music, we have how it's being used and the various instruments. So, let's discuss how Zhongli's demo absolutely nails each one of this. Number 1, the visuals. For the first scene, we get a 3D animation, the way it opens with Iron Tongue Tian and his fan. And I'm not joking here, the fan is literally one of the main characters of this video. Like, oh my god, look at it, it's moving. The entire feel of the third round knockout here was pretty straightforward. Although it wasn't very lively since there wasn't much people. We get the gist. We get the gist that people go here to drink whatever Zhongli's drinking here. I hope it's milk, please. Then as the camera pans to a close-up of his face, it cuts and boom, his animated character portrait shows up. Zhongli and Zhongli, but more transparent. So at the character demo, we see multiple of these scenes where Zhongli's silhouette is doing fight actions. And I honestly think that this is what really set it apart from others, and one of the main things that made it so good. When I see these scenes, I always get reminded of those shadow martial arts fighting thing we commonly see in movies. And then Rex Lapis' dragon form in the background, which is probably inspired by the mythical dragons in Chinese folklore, just ties everything together and makes the whole scenes way cooler and much more unique compared to the other demos. The last few scenes are set in, funnily enough, in Guizhong's domain. Man, just really miss her, huh? Him opening his eyes were cool, the fighting scenes were cool, and this Adobe Premiere Pro stock splash transition was cool. All of the visuals in this last scene are honestly top tier, and it just wraps everything together. Especially when Zhongli's elemental burst gets shown. The way it aligns with the sun thing, and how the meteor falls on the beat drop. And then the fight thing happens, the showcase of the petrified enemies, and then the ending where the big boom thing in the end of the fight scene was actually pretty cool. The movements of the spear and Zhongli was synced with the music and was very satisfying. You can notice how every movie does follows the beat and the rhythm of the music. Okay, number 2, the purpose. Time for the good stuff, the story, the gameplay, the character. No more dumb, boring nerd film stuff. It's time for lore. So we last left off with ancient Liyue, beset by an ocean demon, which was probably Osail, and the mountain dragon, which was probably Ajda. The convenience of the storyteller here is very meaningful and #deep. I mean, come on, this was made in November 30, 2020. We weren't even introduced to Ajdaha yet, but they already sprinkled in a bit of fun little Easter eggs like this in here. And as we stare at the character portrait, we're already hyped up and have a sense that Zhongli is a very stoic, reserved, and wise person. He hasn't even said a word yet, but we already know what kind of person he is. In fact, to prove how, even if you have never played the game yet, you would understand what kind of person Zhongli is. To prove that thing, I got one of my friends who has never played Genshin before to tell me their first impressions by only watching the first few seconds of the demo. What is your first impression of him?
He looks like an antagonist. His stance is like calm.
But
He's
like,
like that observant kind.
and then I got her to watch the entirety of the demo and she said this.
Oh my god, he's only not like an antagonist, but like the cold, closed off person. Pero he's knowledgeable.
The final contract, too, has been set in stone.
He doesn't seem like the bad guy.
Yeah.
He wants to save, what is it, Lie?
Yeah.
Was it? He's a hero. Pero closed off guy nga siya, and like he'll probably do everything he wants in his own way.
Your like inferences are not actually that bad.
Well,
They're actually pretty
yeah. Duh.
good. Duh, I'm me. Okay, with that out of the way, let's focus on the gameplay a little bit. Because after the character portrait, we finally get a taste of it. It got the basics thrown, you know, we got the normal attack, the elemental skill, and his shield ability all mixed in with a couple of cool effects of him being turned into a silhouette and such. It was pretty decent. The few quotes he says here are major references to his story. Him saying the age of gods and monsters is actually pretty interesting, since he's lived 1,000 years. Therefore, he has seen an age before the monsters from the cataclysm happened. In the fight scene, we get a few more showcase of his gameplay. We got his charged attacks, normal attacks, then the massive planet befall ultimate skill. It was all beautifully presented to us. It also presented the petrify ability his ult has, so it kinda completes the showcase of his skill. We got the normal attack, the charge attack, elemental skill hold, and the elemental burst. The first contract in Levi probably refers to his contract with the other Adepti, their agreement to cleanse the land, and by that, he probably meant kill the monsters when it was the Archon War time. And then defend the safe harbor is pretty self-explanatory. The final contract is probably his contract with Signora and the Fatui at the end of the Liyue Archon quest, where he negotiates and trades off his Gnosis for something we don't know yet. Alright, now for the best one, the music. I ran a poll on one of my community posts asking everyone which factor of the character demo they liked the most, without the option of saying all of them, of course. About 900 people responded, and 10% said the purpose, 17% preferred the visuals, and 73% said they liked the music most, which is like 650 of you lot. And I must say, the music indeed carries the entire character demo. Chinese trap is just a banger genre to listen to. And when did Yu Peng Chen ever make anything bad, honestly? No, I'm not a music nerd, but I'll try my best in picking apart Rex Incognito, and you're definitely free to correct me. Right off the bat, we can tell that this song uses a lot, and I mean a lot, of traditional Chinese instruments. And from what I can hear, these are the instruments used in Rex Incognito. Gucheng, a Chinese zither, Pangsi, a small wooden percussion instrument, erhu, a 2-string violin, the electric erhu, a 2-string violin but electric, picking cymbals. For the drums that were used here, I'm not really sure which one's the correct one, but I'm pretty sure it's one of these. The pianku, taku, and the tangu. Then we have a violin and a literal electric guitar. I am very sorry, by the way, if I butchered some of those words. If I got the instruments wrong, or if I left some out, or if I pronounced it wrongly, feel free to correct me in the comment sections if you want, because I am nowhere near being an expert in these things. The mixture of these different traditional Chinese and modern instruments is really good, especially when also adding a touch of trap music in it as well. The song starts slow and steady. We get to hear the gucheng first, with a couple of percussions like the pangsi, the picking cymbals, and some of the different sized gu. As it leads up to the beat drop, the rhythm gets more and more intense. And when the beat dropped, the rhythm becomes relaxed again and repetitive. Here we also get to hear the erhu, along with the trap beat. Towards the middle, the rhythm kind of crescendos and goes back down. The silence is immediately broken by more gucheng, and then a short series of traditional drums are played, most likely the tangku. The rhythm then picks back up and becomes more intense while still retaining the tune of the previous one. We also get to hear the electric guitar now, which was really unexpected, but had a really big impact on how exciting it was. The electric guitar paired with the electric erhu gave it a more rock and roll vibe, as if we were going to a battlefield or some sort. The second beat drop, the most satisfying one in this whole song. it just makes you want to order something, you know? The electric guitar is still being used and it's still very very hype, but the music is more steady now. If the previous one was about marching into battle, then this part is definitely the music telling you that you've already won. As the song comes to a close, the tune goes back to the relaxed one we heard in the beginning. Instead of the electric erhu, we hear the traditional erhu again. Then everything fades out beautifully. Okay, I think that's all 3 done and dusted. And to wrap up, Zhongli's character demo is definitely great. It's up there, you know? There's no denying that. Some say that the music is Yu Pengchen's magnum opus, some say it's the best character demo, and some even say nothing can top it anymore. So I hope this little breakdown video makes you either more appreciative of it or more critical of it, whichever path you want to choose. And not just for Zhongli's character demo, also for other character demos out there, because they're all very good. Zhongli's character demo is just unique. It just makes you want to go, yeah, that was satisfying. And I think that is what makes Zhongli's character demo so damn good.